warm welcome to Hope Channel Kenya. My name is Catherine and this is your show, Siri Ushindi. Today we are taking a different turn so that you know how things go. Now, I know that some of us have always wanted to serve the Lord, but they have no idea exactly how to go about it. You do a few things in your church, occasionally you join mission trips, occasionally you participate in some evangelistic campaign, but you really don't have a sustained strategy. We want to let you know that we have a very special group today in our studios. They will tell us who they are shortly, and you'll get to know how they have chosen to serve the Lord. And interestingly, their chair is a lady. So I'm very excited to introduce to you my sister, Mrs. Doris Kenyanya. Doris, how are you today?
Hello, viewers.
Are you okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, and you're looking very bright.
Thank you, we thank God.
So you're very welcome to Hope Channel Kenya and to Siri Ushindi. And they tell me that they have a young person. Well, to me, it doesn't look too young, but they convinced me that his name is Caleb, and he has a very special name. The name that is very familiar to some of us, Maraga. But he says they are not related. Caleb, how are you today?
Hello, viewers.
You're welcome. This is Alex Maraga. And then I will come to Elder Caleb Manyaga, names that are very similar also. Elder, you're welcome. You told me you're a student?
Hello, viewers. Yes, I am a student.
You're very welcome. And last but not least is one of my friends, the first ASI chairman I met. His name is Elder Francis Njoroge. Elder, you're very welcome. Do you want to say hi to your viewer?
Hello, viewers.
Yeah, so we have invited you to the studio today in a very, very special way to try and help us demystify this big animal we hear about. I'm told that there is a group that operates within the Adventist Church, that they are members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and that they have gone out to do certain things that most members are not really familiar with. And I want to start with CJ. Well,
yes.
Tell me about ASI. What is ASI?
ASI is a lay movement of lay people. These are people who have identified themselves with Jesus Christ. And they have identified the Great Commission which they want to achieve in hastening the second coming of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. These people, they have committed themselves, both their resources and time, to make sure that that work which the clergy are doing, they have fulfilled the gaps so that the word of God reaches the all corner of the world so that Jesus Christ can come.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Njoroge, I know you are among the pioneers of the ASI movement in Kenya. When you talk about lay people, what do you really mean?
When we talk about lay people, these are people, there are two classes of people. Although we shouldn't say there are two classes. We are all one class before the eyes of God. But as we are working in this world, there are two classes because of the kind of the work we do. We have the clergy and you have the lay people. The lay people are the people who sit on the fields there, and then we have the clergy, the pastors. Mm-hmm. Now, we people, we realize that unless we join the pastors and help them to be able to fulfill the gap that could be seen, they cannot manage. You can imagine, you have one pastor who is pastoring about 1,000 people. How can he manage that? Mm-hmm. He shall require help from the lay people. They must actually help him by possibly even in evangelism, even helping them in the finances, and all those kind of things. And this is how they can also be able to grow. The lay people can only be able to grow when they are in the service of God. Mm-hmm. Because Jesus said that sanctify them by the truth. Mm-hmm. My word is the truth. Mm-hmm. So as we continue speaking the truth, talking about Jesus Christ, we continue growing, we get growing, we motivate other members, even those who are not Christians, to be able to join the church so that they can see, they can also be able to talk about that Christ. Because Christ is our master, and everybody actually through the blood of Jesus, we are on the same level because of the blood of Jesus. Even those people are there whom we think that they are not Christians. But we know they do not really know, some of them, that they need to come to Christ. And the pastor alone, he cannot be able to do that. We have to work together with him so that we can be able to work faster and to help him to be able to reach many people.
Sister Doris, Elder Njoroge has just talked about having that your group and maybe your forerunners identified certain gaps that you have come to fill as lay people. He has mentioned one of them, like the pastor may not be able to minister to all the church members, especially in big congregation, but generally there is not a single congregation that one pastor can manage to minister to. How do you, first of all, recruit people to join ASI? Do you first of all identify their gifts, or do you say as long as you're a lay person and you're a baptized member of the church, you can come? What is the process of getting into ASI?
The requirement, we have a constitution, and the constitution is very clear. It has an application form that one has to fill. As we have stated, is a lay members movement, and we normally have ASI Sabbaths, and during those Sabbaths there's a promotion that is done, and we ask whoever is willing to join ASI to join us and fill the form, which starts approval from the church, because the member must be of regular standing in a specific church from a chapter. And this recruitment is done at the conference level or the field level, because in Kenya we have chapters in every conference, and the field, the only field that we have.
What do you mean by chapter?
The chapter is like now the team that is here, this is a ASI Kenya chapter, which has got the sub-chapters, we call them chapters at the conference level, so that they are able to meet the needs of each conference.
So you have decentralized the leadership,
Yes.
sort of.
Yes, the chairman from the chapters, they come and join up in the national office.
Okay.
So they are the people who know what is at the ground. And basically, like we have been dealing with unentered areas, getting to pay pastors as global missionary pioneers, and they are doing a good work, even constructing churches where we have done an evangelistic meeting.
Okay.
So the recruitment is basically at the church level, somebody who's willing to spend and be spent. Because you must sacrifice your resources, you must sacrifice your time to do the Lord's work. Nobody sponsors an ASI member. So we even train the people how they can do their own income generating activities to be able even to return the tithes for the church to go.
Okay. Now, you, Elder Manyaga,
Yes.
you have just told me that you're a student, and of course you are parents, and you have all these sorts of responsibility. What really attracted you to ASI?
ASI, as you have heard, is a movement in the church for church members who are dedicated, who are serious in the business of God, who wants to be used, as Sister Doris has said, who are ready to spend and be spent. Remember, even Paul was saying, I'm gladly ready to spend and be spent in Acts 18, verse 1 to 3. So he said, I'm ready to be spent. Yes. So we are here to be spent.
I just want to know your personal experience. How did you, what motivated you to join ASI?
Is because of I'm an elder in the church. And being an elder, you have what to interact and also be a link between the pastor and the members. And also be the link of outside people. How do you mix the two? It is easy now when you join ASI, you get to be used, you get to spend, so that you mix and bring the two together. Those who are outside there, you can interact with them and then bring them inside into the church.
Wow, that's very encouraging. And
Yes.
Elder Njoroge, when you talk about spending in an economy like ours, people might mistake that to mean that you guys have quite a bit of money to spare, because some people hardly afford. So how do you go around it? What really motivates a church member who gives tithe and offering and helps within the church and gives money for funerals to again put aside a little money for a missionary, a global mission pioneer, meaning that you're supporting someone who is preaching? What is it that drives you as a ASI person?
We realize that silver and gold belongs to God. Therefore, we also we train them and teach them that all whatever we have belongs to God. And the moment actually you get closer to God, if Christ is your personal Savior, even the Spirit of God will move you to be able to move you to sympathize with the people who are outside there who require Christ and they have not received Christ. And for that matter, we have this faith, because as our motto is, our motto is sharing Christ in the marketplace. And as we share Christ in the marketplace, we learn quite a lot even from Him directly through the Holy Spirit, that whatever we require for His work, He will provide. You see, sometimes we think that the effort we have, what we do, we get because of actually our knowledge, because of our effort, because of work and so on. But no, it is God who provides. There's a statement somewhere which says that if we devote our services to the affairs of the kingdom of God, He will take care of our interest. So we train members to know that their interest is taken care of by Jesus and is concerned. Whenever you go out, remember what He says in Matthew, that I'll be with you always. Therefore, wherever you are going, it's not a matter of thinking about money first, but think who is with you. He who is with you owns everything in the world. And once you get to realize this, there's no time that you say that the little money I have, I want to keep for something else. Use for God, and God provides. And we have realized through our experiences, as we continue spending, we continue getting, God continue providing for His own service. God provides with this on one hand, and the other hand has to give. But if you don't give, you will just keep for yourself. It's just like the system, the toilet system. If the water in the toilet stays there for a long time without being flushed, you know what happens? It gets rotten. That's how the riches that you have kept, one has kept without using it for the Lord. That's how it is. Because the more you have it for sin, but it doesn't help you. But if you let it go flow over to other people, then there and there, you realize God will continue providing for His service. This is how we treat people, and that's, first of all, we have to own that one first. We own it first and get to know what we are saying is what's coming from our heart. Therefore, as we talk to people, tell them that giving will not make you poor. Instead, it will make you rich, because God will be providing. And as He provides for His service, He leaves something little on you to use also. Therefore, you will not be struggling. This is why our motto is sharing Christ in the marketplace. And the more you share Christ, the more you get more molded for heaven. The more you get molded and get to understand that God in heaven, God in heaven is actually also caring for you. This is the training that we do. And as you continue doing so, then you continue growing that, And as you continue growing that, you feel you don't want to leave it. So some of us, we feel that ASI policy or philosophy actually is in our blood, because it's Christ actually who is motivating us. The more you love Christ, you find yourself motivated. The people that we preach to, we tell them that they also try Christ, they find they're also motivated. Yes.
Sister Doris, I'm back to you, and just wondering, apart from preaching, for instance, and having people that you support that are doing some work, especially in unentered areas, what other areas of focus do you have in mind? What other activities are you involved in as ASI?
As ASI, we have a number of activities. As I said, it depends from chapter to chapter.
Okay, so are you saying that each chapter is free to come up with certain activities or strategies that they want to use in reaching out?
Yes.
Okay.
Each chapter, like now, Coast chapter, they're having a big evangelistic meeting where they have started, they're having a medical camp. They'll provide the food before having that meeting. So you look at the needs of each area.
Okay.
We know there are areas where they need a church, and so they bring the report to the meeting and say we need this kind of help, so that we can be able to come up with a church for these people. Besides that, there are people, ASI members, who are supporting needy children because the parents cannot manage. And I want to agree with the Elder Njoroge that when you spend that money, you never feel anything. When there is love of Christ in your heart, you just spend that money. You will never sleep hungry. You will never walk naked, because silver and gold in Haggai 2 verse 8 is the Lord's. So why? And Psalms 24 verse 1, everything in this world belongs to God. So the minute you understand those two verses, you say, God, here I am, use me. So there are various activities. I'm sure that there are a number of people who would say, actually, ASI supported me to start keeping bees so that they get the honey. There are those ones who have been taught on how to rear chickens. Income generating activities, and that's the best we do. I'm having a project where I did the TMI. I've already given quite some money that was required, so that the people, there are those ones who have agreed to do some farming. We got a young person who's training them, and the others who wanted to start a restaurant, small restaurants, so that they are able to return tithe to the Lord, and they have something for their families. Because we want to do the Christ way. You meet the needs of these people before you can preach to them.
Okay. So, Mr. Maraga, do you sort of like, which chapter do you come from?
I come from South Kenya Conference chapter.
Okay. So you are basically based in Kisii. So do you like have, once you have identified the needs, do you have a structured program where you train people, or do you get from those interested their needs, and then you get to their level and help them? For example, if someone wants to rear chicken, do they first of all have to become ASI members for you to help them understand, or do you start with helping them before they become ASI members?
Yeah, in South Kenya Conference, we have two approaches. One, we operate our SI in corporate ministries. In this corporate ministry, if you are a member, for example, of my own ministry, Heralds of Truth Ministry, when you become a member, it's an initiative now as a corporate ministry to train you in line of evangelism, because these corporate ministries, they have different lines of ministries. There are those ones who are interested in evangelistical campaigns. There are those ones who are interested in literature evangelism. There are those ones who are interested in hospital, visiting the sick, and also doing visitations. So when you join one of the corporate ministry, it will train you the line of your interests. For example, the one which you have asked of layering chicken. The second method is we conduct frequent Sabbaths, ASI Sabbath. For example, right now, on the month of 3rd of November, we have an ASI Sabbath. In that forum now, we share testimonies, our experiences. If I'm a farmer, how my farming, how is it impacting positively in the society? Can people come and learn from the project which I have? If I'm maybe I'm a small scale farmer of maybe the planting vegetables, this organic farming, if I'm doing such kind of farming, how am I managing it? How am I using this my small farming to impact in terms of supporting the work of God? So through that, many people, we share experience, and then when people have learned, they go and embrace the same, and through that, we get resources which we support God's work. So that's basically, those are the two methods which we use to enrich our members on how they should come up with the resources to support God's work, and also to see that we have successfully partners with the clergy to make sure the work of God is finished. Yeah.
So now coming to Elder Caleb, I know you are the treasurer. So how do you collect money? Are you the treasurer or the secretary?
I'm the Secretary
You're
General.
What do you do? What does that mean?
Secretary General is to communicate.
Or you're the one that shares information?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So generally, how does ASI now get these monies from the member to this common kitty?
What happens is that we sensitize them. We tell them there's a need here. And then we tell them this is the manner in which we are going to channel our resources. So the money is, the funds are collected, and from there disbursements are made.
And how do you account for it?
Well, the committee is the one which receives. There's a treasurer who receives. And he issues receipts to the people who have paid. Yes. And then from there, there's an accounting process which he has got to account and say, so much was received, so much has been spent, and this is the money it was spent. And then the committee has got to sanction the expenditure. You don't have to spend on your own. That's why the committee is there. The committee is the one to guide on how to spend.
Money will be spent.
All the activities, you cannot start activity on your own. Yes, you have what to say, there's this activity here which I'm going to do. Either you say you are funding on your own, or you say I want the committee to come on board so that we do it globally.
So what you're saying generally as ASI members is, number one, you have functional structures.
Yes.
Whereby members who have joined the organization would find help, would be empowered generally in doing something that will generate income. That's first and foremost.
Yes.
That's if they don't have a job, for instance, or they need, something else to supplement what they earn. But you also identify needs within the community that you address through the collections that you make.
Yes.
But someone watching, and this is the last part of the program before we take a break, would be asking, like, what does it take to become a member? When I fill a form, do I need to pay? And if I need to pay, how much do I pay? Doris?
Yeah, thank you. We have the application form, and there's a registration fee. But because we understand we fall in different categories in our terms of how much we receive, it's allowed that you can do by installments. We have a chapter that they were actually having 2,000, but we had pegged 5,000. But this money, 60% remains at the chapter, is only 40% that is supposed to come to the national office for the functions of the office. But once you have shown an interest, you are allowed to join ASI, because we need you first. It's not the money that comes first. Yes.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's possible that there are people that are very interested in serving, even where they live, through a certain structure, but they may not have so much to give in terms of, like, even if it's a registration fee. But we'll come to that. Now, we want to take a break. I know that you could be interested in joining ASI. As you can hear, there's so much you can do for God. I'm very encouraged to know that these people here are actually not paid to serve. They have chosen to give their time and their resources for the work of God. It doesn't mean that they don't give tithe. It doesn't mean that they don't give offering. It doesn't mean that they don't help in their personal capacity, but they also help through a structured system called Adventist laymen and something about industry, but I guess service industry. But the thing is, any member is eligible. If you are not a pastor, then you are a lay person, and you can join. So join us after the break, because I have good news for you, that they are going to have a beautiful meeting, so that if you want to learn more about ASI, you can have a chance. So for now, take a glass of water and keep watching Hope Channel Kenya. We want to welcome you once again to Siri Ushindi, and this is Hope Channel Kenya. I'm so happy you're watching. Don't go away even after this program, because there is so much for you. You don't have to spend time on things that don't help you. Hope Channel Kenya is here to build your life. And today we have a very special group here. They are talking about things that really build a Christian. You know what? When you become a Christian, and an Adventist for that matter, you don't just sit at the pews and don't do nothing. God is calling you to join others in doing so much for Him, even around your neighborhood. So again, I just want to remind you that we have Sister Doris Kenyanya here. She's the chair of Adventist laypersons and service industry. Such a long thing to say, but it's about lay people that are serving the Lord voluntarily, that they give their money, they give their time, they give their food, their clothes, anything that they have that can change someone's life. And they have told us in the first part that this movement is for every Adventist member. And they mentioned some registration fee, but the thing is that shouldn't put you away. You can actually bring your chicken to them. I know they know what to do with it. And you become a member. The thing is, they simply want to have your name. And that shows that you are committed. You know, you just can't be committed by sending a text message. And so I want to welcome them again to the second part. Elder Njoroge is here. Elder Manyaga is here. Elder Maraga is here. They are just talking about this beautiful movement that has come. It's been there. How long has it been there, Elder Njoroge?
We started it 2002.
2002. That's quite a long time. And it has grown even to have a chair lady, as you can see. That tells you that this movement also includes women. Now, we want to come to a few other things that I think are very critical. Does ASI discriminate? I'm sorry to use that word, but do you look at people's educational backgrounds, or does it take anybody who is a member of the Adventist Church and they're in good and regular standing? Mr. Manyaga.
ASI, Advent Layperson Services and Industries, encompasses and then welcomes anybody on board from the church. As you heard earlier, the member must be a member of the church, a good person, a regular standing in the church. So because at the end of the day, the church is the one to recommend that person, that we know this person is a member here. So the person comes on board as a member. He pays the membership fee. So now he continue meeting the sessions of the ASI. When we meet, he attends.
Okay.
Yes.
So the qualification is that you're in good and regular standing.
Yes.
You don't say you stopped in class 8 and you have a PhD.
No.
It doesn't matter.
No. What we have
Okay.
said is you take Christ to the marketplace,
Okay.
where you are earning your living. Remember the person who is selling the vegetables on the ground there? Yeah? The Bible says, how are people seeing you? What letter are you sending outside there? When they see you there, are they saying this person belongs to that church and that church is a good church? Or they are saying, don't associate with this person, the character is different from the church is attending. So right from the church down to where you are selling your wares, you must present the name of Christ in the manner it should be.
Okay. So the underlying thing here for ASI, as I speak now to Maraga, is that what you are trying to put in the member is that wherever you are serving, whatever you do as your activity for the day that brings you income or not, that is your mission field first and foremost. Is that what we are saying? We are not just telling them that you need to go to Turkana to preach. We are not telling them to take food to another part of the country, but we are saying that when I'm selling my tomatoes in Kisii Market, that the person selling next to me should see a difference between me and the other person. Is that what we are saying? And if that is what we are saying, now, Mr. Maraga, how do you train this member to get to that point where they turn their sphere of influence into a mission field? What kind of training do you give them? Is it just the ASI Sabbath, or do you have special programs whereby you meet this member and help them to understand their role in the society?
I will start by mentioning the conventions which we held.
Okay.
Those conventions, we make a program in terms of seminars. And these seminars, they are not ordinary seminars. They are unusual seminars. That's why even the theme of our upcoming convention is business unusual. We want to approach God's work in a very different way, which can impact spiritually even those ones who are not ready to receive Jesus Christ. So the approach which we give to train these people so that they can be a very important member in terms of the laity, in terms of being ASI members. One, they are members who have experience in terms of sharing Christ in the marketplace. One, they have schools. Two, they have hospitals. Three, they have businesses, various businesses. And others, they have personal ministries. So when we meet at the convention, we share broadly how my ministry is impacting on the spiritual members on where I'm living. Secondly, if I have an hospital, how I'm using my Adventist hospital, which I've come up with, to impact on spiritual or members who attend that hospital. If it's a school, those students who graduate from that school, which testimony do they have that you as a director, as an ASI member, you're impacted on them? So when we share these experiences, in the process, we get to train these new members. Okay. They borrow the idea, they go and start their own schools, and they use the same idea also to share Christ in the marketplace. That's the approach which you use, first in the conventions. Secondly, these ones trickle down to chapters now. When chapters have their various activities, they are Sabbaths, they share their testimonies in their chapters. And through that also, they train their members on how they are supposed to share Christ in the marketplace. That's the approach which we have used, and I'm seeing it's successfully reaching the members and enriching them to reach people on their capacity where they are living. Yeah.
Doris,
Yes.
when is the convention?
The convention will be from 21st of November. That is, we are reporting in the evening. It will be 22nd, 23rd, and 24th at ECD, East and Central Africa Division Headquarters. That's where we'll be holding our convention for 2018.
And
Yes.
how much will it cost an individual?
We have different rates because we have negotiated with in the guest house, both the ECD guest house and the university. There is sharing of a room, half board, total with the registration. We want people to pay a registration of 1,000 shillings. That will take care of all other logistics, but accommodation and half board, that's breakfast and lunch, total will be 8,200
For the whole time?
Yes. If you are sharing. If you are not sharing, it will go to 11,200. So we have different classes. We'll put it up in the advertisement. We already have the program on ASI Kenya chapter WhatsApp, and we still reaching out more people to know that you can actually come. If you are hard pressed, you can stay with a neighbor across the road and pay the 1,000 registration money. Of course, then you pay for the lunch because you'll take lunch there. We have negotiated with them, lunch will be 450. That's a negotiation that we have done so that we can have many more people attend the convention. This convention, we have prayed about it, and we believe the Lord is going to bless us because we want to do business unusual. If I've been praying twice, 3 times a day, I have to change how my prayer life has got to be. I have to change the way I'm doing business. You know, we are saying as an ASI member, if you are selling vegetables, you got them cheap today. Don't ask for a profit that is stealing from your customers. People should see the difference. How are you serving these people? What are your prices? That people can say, if you want to get nice tomatoes, go to so and so, because that is the way of preaching Christ. Your lifestyle preaches Christ to many, and how you are handling your customers, the margin profit should be minimal if you are sincere in what you are doing.
Doris, I just want to ask you, now that you're the chair, what is the percentage of women that have registered as ASI members?
I think we are almost half-half. The ladies, you know, our Adventist church, basically the ladies are more than the men. So we still have a big number of ladies who are members, and I met some ladies who are so excited for the first time. They are coming to the convention this year, as we were talking to them at the Nairobi International Show.
And having mentioned the show, maybe your team members know that you were very active in giving literature. And, you know, giving 2 books, The Great Hope and The Story of Hope.
And The Power of Hope.
And The Power of Hope. How did you generate that money within a short time? Because I could see the books are running out, and then I see you come with another carton.
I thank God that the members, that's why these members are ready to be spent.
Amen.
So what happened after we agreed that we are joining up, within a day, I called a few members, the officials. I told them we are going to Nairobi International Show, and for us to tell people about Christ, the non-Adventist should be given a book. And we actually gave out a total of 135 books of the Great Hope, the Story of Hope, and the Power of Hope. And I added a Bible to one family, and I've agreed with some of them. I'll be making a follow-up how far they have gone with the reading of the book. We have all the contact. We have 206
Amen.
mobile numbers that we need to reach them during this time. We'll keep in touch with them. And I thank God for that opportunity Hope Channel gave us to join up in that one.
Oh, you're very welcome. Elder Njoroge, having been in ASI perhaps longest, do you have any success story that you want to share with us? Something that you can say, this one ASI did?
Yes, we have quite a number of success stories which the ASI has really succeeded. Because initially, when the ASI came to Kenya, of course, the lay people, we were in the church anyway, we were members of the church, but when we learned about the ASI and we realized how much they can be able to do, we realized that actually it was a sleeping giant. There are people who can do wonders in Christ. And we started now looking, the churches even started looking for us because they saw that we are trying to smell where we can get something to do for God. And finally, I remember by that time I was in Western Kenya, and there was a big problem in Mount Elgon. And when we are there, we were called by the conference. What can you do about the lay people now? Because now you are the leaders of the lay people. What can you do? You know, we had to go to our knees to pray. Because those people had rebelled, they had refused to return the tithe. There were differences between the members and the clergy. Now, we had to come in between to broker the peace. And now we said, now, we have never done this before. So we came to our knees, we prayed, and that's the time when we realized God can work with anybody. Because when we prayed, and we went to see those people, we had a big meeting with them, telling them the way we cannot fight with the church. And we say, even if there's a difference, it can be solved in a different way. How we were getting the words to tell them is God who was leading us. And finally, I remember in the last, because we had about 2 days, the last day, we had about 50% saying we want to go back to church.
Amen.
And then, because they had retained the tithe, they wanted to give us the tithe. Part of 50% they would have wanted to give us, take the tithe. We told them, no, we don't take the tithe ourselves. That's a whole thing that is only handled by the people who have been chosen to do that. And we prayed with them. And finally, we had to read the books. We had to talk the way the Lord would have led us. And at the end of it, those people came back to church, all of them, and were led by the ASI group to go to the field, meet the leaders, and they came carrying the tithe, which they had held for quite some time. And we said, this is not we. We realized that God can be able to work with anybody. So from there, in fact, by that time, I want to remember that it had even been announced on the radio that they were to be disbanded. Those churches were to be disbanded because they had rebelled. But using simple people, God was able to intervene, and they were not disbanded. I remember when we went to the conference, and taking those, they said we meet with them because we had to be in the middle, because, you know, they were not seeing one-to-one. I remember it was quite an emotional meeting, that even some people were shedding tears, having remembered how they had really pulled and pushed one another and so on. Therefore, that was one of the success stories that we really remember. The church which were to be disbanded, they were brought back like a lost son. Thereafter, other stories I remember when we were there. I remember the area we were, we realized the area, people were very poor, and they needed help. Of course, our money was little, was not really much that you could be able to help. I decided I moved. I have friends in many places. I went to Britain to look for friends, and I got a friend. I went and made a friend. He wasn't a friend. She wasn't a friend because I met her. in the church, and I told them the problem you're having with some of the communities who are really very poor, and the children are not going to school, and they require to go to school, and we can do very little because our resources are meager.
Yeah.
So one of the lady who was in the churches, I was talking because I knew somebody actually who introduced me to talk to the church. At the back seat, they were listening. I told them that we have children who do not even know where they are going to get the next meal. And, I was just talking carelessly, not knowing whether the word will meet, somebody will get what I'm saying. At the end of it, when we finished the meeting, a lady came, an old lady came, and said to me, Francis, would you like having a lunch with me? I said, no, I wouldn't mind. So we had lunch. She told me, what you have talked about those children who do not know where to get the next meal and who are not really going to school, I want you to go and look for 10-acre plot. I want to put a school for those children.
Okay. I
thought maybe the lady did not understand. She thought the lady here is normally go for very cheap prices. They told her maybe we get 5 acres because the land there will cost about £1,000. And she told me, no, 10 acres would be more ideal. Then I knew she knew what she was saying. And within 3 months, we went and got a plot, 8-acre plot. I called her. She sent the money to me, and she told me I'm coming. She came, we bought a plot, 8 acres, and after buying a plot for 8 acres, she put a school. She put one big structure, and she put a school. We started from baby class to standard 8.
So the school is there?
The school is there. In fact, we have people right now, we can say, who are in Nairobi University, actually students from that school. And I want to say humbly that we realized when we started, of course, people were a bit skeptical. They were wondering, what is this? Because we are giving free education. But those who came, they started learning, and later on, when they became many, then we decided to charge some little fees. Now, we couldn't be able to accommodate all of them because the classes were few and so on. But I want to say, with what happened, that one became a ministry, because now even people around, even those who are not Adventist, they came to realize these are the people to go with.
Amen.
And this succeeded because of that lady. And one time she told me, and we learned from one another. We ASI, we learn from one another. That's when he talked about the conversion. When in the conversion, when people give testimonies, we learn, we say, wow, so this can happen. So this one time came, and she told me from the time she started supporting that ministry, the school is called Don Romeo Academy. From the time she started supporting that academy, her business, she's a business lady. She's a business lady from Caribbean. She told me from the time she started, her business actually started growing bigger. She told me now they are bigger than they were. I remember buying that plot and putting up the school. It wasn't little money, because I remember the plot we bought at about 1 million shillings. Then later on we bought another 20 acres closer to the school, and all that was coming from her.
Wow. So you see, you will be making a very wise decision to join ASI. Not only will you learn, but you'll be used of God. And we want to encourage you to register with ASI as they plan for a convention in the next few months. Actually, it's the next month. And as they say, if you have a relative around Ongata Rongai, Nairobi, or not too far from Ongata Rongai, you can just pay 1,000 shillings and also find money for lunch and join this beautiful team here as they minister to each other and as they share with others the success stories like what we are finishing with. Now, if you want to join, their number is available. It will be running on the screen. Please feel free to find them. They're in different chapters. That means they're in different regions. They have a region in Kisii, another one in Nyamira, Nakuru, Mombasa, in Nairobi. So feel free to contact them so that you know exactly how to go about it. Thank you so much for joining Hope Channel Kenya. We look forward to having you in our next show. And please keep watching Hope Channel Kenya. And until then, God bless you. Thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure hosting you. We look forward to seeing more people registering with ASI, and we do hope that you guys